Disco X on the line, just as I suspected. No one really gets over me. I'm unaffected. Why would you try to ever put me second? You're just another groupie to me. No, I'm out here single, and I need some real. Now I got standards, if I fuck I fail. I'm out here single, tell me what's the deal. Now I got standards, if I fuck I fail.
What's good, everybody? Happy Monday. Excited to have you with us right here on the Betting News Network. This is your afternoon BETSPRESSO. That is our resident Bears fan who's the happy boy today, Mr. Jamie Burke. That is our resident Packers fan who's a nervous wreck to get us started. That's Vsauce. My name's Sweatpan Jesus, our resident Titans fan who just had his best week of NFL football so far because the Titans didn't play and we're now the number one overall pick in the draft. So we're all happy campers for various reasons. We hope that you are happy with us kicking it all across all the platforms. Welcome to the show, boys. Happy Monday. How are we living?
Living so good, man. Victory Monday, back to back. Danny, how are we feeling? I'm just hoping I get a victory Tuesday.
I'm doing good, fellas. Always love being on the program with you. And yeah, I mean, V, I was at the game yesterday. I don't know if you were there while I was kind of talking about it this morning on Any Given Wager, but only second Bears game I've been to. I'm always a proponent of staying home and watching, but now I'm back in. I'm going back to the games after being there.
Invested.
Perfect bear weather. Had them for Survivor. Live bet them. SPJ got a little bit of the live action too. Great Sunday all around. Almost too good to where I was saying earlier that that arguably could have been the peak of my year. So I'm a little scared, but we're doing all right. And you know what? Whatever happens tonight, if the Packers lose, obviously selfishly I'll be a little happy. But then if they win, I'm happy for you. So I'm so excited to be able to talk to you about this game because this one is very interesting, and I got some questions for you. So I'm excited to pick your brain.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, man. I know that this one's been circled on both teams' calendars. I don't see the fan bases. This is a big matchup. It's a marquee matchup, and it's why it's on Monday night. So I'm very excited. And if you're not a fan of the Packers, you're not a fan of the Eagles. If you're a fan of football, I think you're going to enjoy tonight's game. Hopefully, it's not like last night's. Yikes.
Oh, yeah, I said that earlier. Last night's game was an absolute joke. The Steelers were terrible. We're going to play good, bad, the ugly for NFL Week 10, which we saw yesterday. We're obviously going to talk about Thursday night or Monday Night Football and give you guys the moves out in Lambeau Field later tonight. And we're going to talk some NBA. We've got a big NBA slate tonight. DB's got some plays he wrote about at Betting News. I'm sure V does as well. I've got a few props as well. We've got a little plus 3,000 little lotto sprinkle. If anybody wants to get involved with me, that I'll be dropping on the screen. I dropped a plus 200,000 one, Danny, which obviously did not hit. However, somebody watered it down to like a plus 4,000 and it smacked. So I've been getting more questions for the people's sharing my cake.
It's funny that a watered down version was plus 4,000. So shout out to that guy. He's like, you know what? This is kind of too crazy.
This is too crazy.
It's popping down crazy a little bit, but not too much.
And smack. Also, shout out to our friend Church Dev. We have a guy that tunes in, Danny, from Down Under in Australia, and he's hit like $2,000 worth of parlays over the last like 3 or 4 days, purely watching our shows. And he sent me a couple slips and said, appreciate whenever you get down here, I'll buy you some beers. And I was like, might be a few years, big dog, but we appreciate you tuning in from the Down Under. We appreciate wherever you guys are hanging out with us. Hope you guys are having a fantastic end to your Monday. It's November the 10th. It's 4:30 Central Time, and it's dark as hell outside, boys. Let the depression set in. We have reached that point. Bing.
I just scraped snow off my car today. Unlike you guys, who I'm sure are living in luxury, we got a bunch of snow last night into this morning.
I didn't tell you this on Any Given Wager earlier. I looked outside and it was flurrying outside my house.
Really?
So yeah, I had a little, not as much as you. I think you had some inches, but we only had a little dusting. But it was cold as hell here. I know V's in California, so he has.
I won't burden you guys with how bad it is out here. Don't worry.
Dude, every time I see V's TikToks, I just get triggered from when I used to live by palm trees, and I just see it in the background. I was like, son of a gun. Like I missed it.
Did you used to live in California, Danny?
No, in Vegas when I was out there, but I would still
right,
obviously get like, some damn good weather in the winter, like in December, driving to work with my windows down, while people back home were enduring what I'm enduring right now, which is snow. So definitely miss that weather.
Also, it's what's up, Alex? It's Nebraska, and that's Nebraska right there, baby. You know that one for sure from being in Cornhusker land.
Windy as hell in that flat state, that's for sure. Walking to class, you get hit with those wind tunnels going across campus, middle of December, whatever. Oh, that was tough.
Yeesh. And we love you, BDA.
Big dingling. You say it once in a while. Can't like continuously have conversations where you repeat the name again and again.
No, just got to pop it out there once. We appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys for kicking it, watching us on YouTube, on Twitch, or on X, wherever you're consuming us. Thanks for hanging out to finish off your Monday. Got a fun slate in front of us. But before we do that, let's talk some news, boys. We talked about this earlier, Sauce Man, so I'll let you kind of lead us off here. Brian Daboll fired by the Giants today. Came out this morning that he will be no longer the head coach of the Giants after multiple collapses over the last month of the season. Kind of feel bad for him, but I think the time has come at this particular point. Also, maybe the mismanagement of this Jackson Dart situation with dealing with so many concussions, him running the football at a really high clip, even though he's been pretty successful doing it, has led to Daboll being fired. Mike Kafka is going to be taking over as the interim head coach for this team going into the back half of the season. Pretty much a lost season for the Giants, so it's more just about assessing the rest of the talent on this roster, Dart being the top of the list. What do you think about this firing? Do you agree with it? Do you think it was the right move, or are you a little more hesitant?
Man, initially, like when I texted you guys, I was excited, just because of how bad the Giants are, how I've seen him mismanage game after game after game. But then also at the same time, Betsky said something to me and about how good he is and what he brought to the table. And honestly, it really made me look at things a little bit differently. He was great as an OC in Buffalo. He was even, good at times here in New York. And I think a lot of the play of Jackson Dart and not even just the play of Jackson Dart, but the fact that they have him, that was him that moved back into the first draft this kid. It was him that saw the talent in this guy. And now we're looking at Jackson Dart like one of the next big franchise QBs. So it's a double-edged sword. I think he needed to go because I don't think he makes a great head coach. But also at the same time, when you fire a head coach, you can't exactly slide him to offensive coordinator. It doesn't work like that. So it was kind of an all-or-nothing thing. And do it now before Dart goes into his first full year as a starter from start to finish rather than doing it next year, I think.
It's weird for me because we talked about kind of this live reacting to it earlier, Danny, but like I'm not a big Giants like internal media type of person. I don't follow this team like day for day as much as I do maybe some other teams, but obviously with them being the Giants, they're a bigger market team and you kind of know. But every person that I follow that is a Giants fan, so they follow the day-to-day action, I love this move. Like they thought it was time like weeks ago for him to be fired, which I thought was kind of surprising because I'm on the same with you. I think that he's done a good job. This franchise has been pretty bad over the last 5 or 6 years. Lack of a franchise quarterback, just inconsistent play top to bottom, the misdealings of Daniel Jones, and now you got to see him be flourishing in Indianapolis, and also the misdealings of the Saquon Barkley situation, like kind of just all over the place. So I don't think it doesn't move the needle for me of like, yeah, this guy sucked. He needed to go. And also like I can see it. Yeah, they're a bad football team. So sure, he's the guy that's going to take the axe, but I don't know. I think he's going to land on his feet somewhere else because he does seem like he's a good football mind. He probably just didn't fit in New York.
Yeah. Well, so I'm kind of saving my thoughts a little bit here because my good, bad, and ugly revolves around this. So I'll express my sentiment momentarily.
Okay, fair enough. You watched it live too, so you got to kind of take all that in person. The other one, which we didn't talk about earlier, so this one just kind of popped up on the timeline in the afternoon, and is kind of some more stuff has come out about it. Burrow might be back, boys. Joe Burrow eyes a Week 13 return at the end of November. Joe Burrow has officially been brought back into practice, opening his 21-day window to be removed from the IR from the Cincinnati Bengals. So that means that they have 21 days to decide if they're going to remove him and allow him to return back this season. He did tell somebody, I think it was Jay Glazer, in an interview as well, that he was eyeing a Thanksgiving return, aka Week 13. So we shall see if that matters for the Bengals. They're 3-6 right now in the division behind the Ravens and the Steelers. As we talked about a little bit, Steelers were awful last night. Ravens looking a little better, back-to-back wins. Maybe the Bengals can make a late season run if Flacco and company. That makes this news makes that your loss against the Bears, Danny, look even worse, in my opinion, because that just totally changes the math. 4-5 versus 3-6 looks so much different comparison right now. But interesting to see. It looks like we're going to have Burrow back in December.
Yeah, honestly, we have to remember this was a turf toe injury, right? So it's really much how well he's healing, how his pain is coming along, and things like that. So I could see him back here in week 13, but it really depends on how these next two games go. Then I think that's what really matters. If you guys are going to end up at 3-9, and the Ravens are going to win 2 more games in the span of the same, like, I just don't see why you come back. I really don't. I don't see a reason for you to play on Thanksgiving, even if the game has a ton of meaning, it being a divisional matchup. But Danny, how do you feel?
It is such an interesting position for them, right? Because it's like, do you want to force him back? Is it worth it? It's already an injury prone guy. So if you do it and God forbid something else happens, then it just gets worse and worse. And I know you can't approach things like that, and you still got to go all in if you have the option to, or the availability of your star quarterback. And it really just depends what the rest of this division is going to look like as well, right? I mean, the AFC North is such a crapshoot right now that they still may be in contention. But what they have their next game against Pittsburgh, I believe, on the road. Steelers are obviously going to be itching to get back in the W column after an embarrassing loss cross country against the Chargers. Cincinnati's defense, I still think, is just an absolute liability, to where I don't care how good your offense is this year. We kind of saw what the potential of what this exact team was last year. And that was a team that, yes, got really hot in the latter half of the season, but you didn't do enough in the beginning stages to get you in the postseason, and you got screwed. So, I mean, there's clearly a cap and a limit with what this team can be, given how terrible their defense is. So, I guess from my fantasy football standpoint, cool, bring back Joe Burrow, because I drafted him in a couple different leagues, and I think, actually, I don't know, I might have dropped him, but nevertheless, that would be the only cool reason to get him back, really. I don't know if that's actually going to help. Like, let's put it this way. And okay, this may be a crazy statement here. I am not comparing Joe Flacco and Joe Burrow, but what Joe Flacco has done with this offense, how much of a bump is it going to be from Joe Burrow, in the sense of, is it worth it to bring Joe Burrow back? Like, Flacco's throwing for 300 plus yards every game, damn near, and he's not the reason they're losing. Again, it's just how bad their defense is. I think that's at least an internal discussion that needs to be had.
Breaking news, chat. Danny thinks that Joe Flacco is better than Joe Burrow. That's what I just heard. No, I think that you're exactly correct. This defense sucks. I mean, I'm just looking at their schedule right now. Also, looking at the 2 back-to-back L's they just took against the Jets, 39-38. They lost that game. Again, they allowed 39 points to the Jets. And then they lost to your Bears, 42-47. Back-to-back L's. If you flip both of those to wins, this is a completely different conversation, because look at the next 4 games on these guys' schedules. They got the Steelers in Pittsburgh, like you mentioned, pissed off Steelers team after they got dog walked yesterday. We'll talk about that in a second. Against the Patriots, against the Ravens on Sunday on Thanksgiving, and then they got the Bills in Buffalo. That's and then they got the Ravens again. That's a terrible 5-game stretch. And I mean, they could very easily on paper lose all of those games. And then, like, why would you bring Joe Burrow back at that point, except for just star power, whatever? But
they were so close going into the stretch at 5-3, and instead they're going in at 3-5. That's horrendously bad. And literally the difference is of a few fucking points. And I know the Bears game ended up being decided by more than just a couple of points, but that was one tackle. One tackle, and you make them kick the field goal. With the Bengals or with the Jets, the very last second, Mason Taylor, first touchdown of his career. Like, the way that it's happening for the Bengals, it feels rough to be a Cincinnati fan right now.
I will say one thing is, the Jets game they should have won. The Bears game should have never came down to what it did, to be honest. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, they were pick 6 of a slight tap on Tremaine Edmonds from, like, being a 3-score lead. And sure, that's an indictment of the Bears being inept still in some categories. But still, I mean, we could play this, and that. Like, yes, the Bears should have won by 3 scores, arguably, and the Bengals should have won. And then, so yeah, I mean, that one is crazy in itself. But yeah, give them at least one win out of those. Completely different conversation, no doubt.
It's so funny when we talk about football, we talk about this team beating that team beating this team, like it matters so much. But then week to week, we see so much variance that it all goes out the window. Like, the Packers' 2 losses are to teams with, like, nobody would predict it. The Miami Dolphins just not only beat the Bills, but beat the brakes off of the Buffalo Bills. Like, nothing matters in this league, right? Any given Sunday, that's what it's called, baby.
Any given Sunday, any given wager, it's how it rock and rolls. Well, on that note, let's just softball to ourselves. Let's do good, bad, and the ugly. I'll let you lead us off, V. Who was your good this week? As you just said, it was a crazy Sunday all across the league.
My good was the Indianapolis Colts. I hate to go back to this team. I know I've already talked about them once this year, but after coming off a really ugly loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Danny Dimes did not look like he was comfortable in that game. They take a trip out to Europe and play in a very, very close game. And yes, I don't think their defense kind of lived up to how it's been built, especially with Sauce Gardner, but they just made that addition. They got some growing pains. And what did they do? They handled business. And I have to say, I got to give Jonathan Taylor's flowers. So often we see clutch catches, we see clutch throws, we see clutch plays made by quarterbacks and wide receivers. How often do you see a clutch 70-plus yard touchdown to help tie the game and keep this team alive? You don't see it all the time, and the things JT is doing is just unreal. I think he has 3 games with 3 touchdowns now this year, and that's more than a lot of teams. Everything they're doing is fantastic. The offensive line parts like the Red Sea. I've never seen anything like it. I think if you put me behind that line, I'm getting 25 to 30 yards for sure.
Before you get like destroyed.
I'll get destroyed, but I'll make it 5 to 6 yards where that line is. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you got a nice runway.
That's it. Maybe 4 yards. I'm kind of slow. I don't know.
It was dope. Yeah, it's a good pick. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It was also awesome. Did you guys see the like when they play the recaps of all the games, they play like the radio coverage of each individual team that won and covering a play, and they did for the German one, they did like the German radio calling the games. Yeah. It was awesome to hear. Das was, which means it's over.
God, you understand everything that they're saying.
Yeah, it was sick. It was cool to see also a crazy game in Berlin. I'm sure a lot of those fans are picked up a good one. All right, DB, what do you like? Who was your good this week?
All right, so me being at the game, I didn't get to watch a lot of these live, but obviously I get the gist of a lot of these games. Still got to watch some of the highlights and tape, but how is it not the New England Patriots, right? Kind of proving their worth a little bit here. The other side of that coin is that, and I've been saying it all year, and I know you guys have known this from me, and I know Sook's going to hate me for it, but like I think the Bucs are a fraudulent team in their own right. However, this was still a prove it to everybody spot for the New England Patriots, who came in with the league's easiest strength of schedule that was played up to this point. I know Adam, the resident Patriots fan, took them outright. I just teased them up, but still certainly thought that they were the better team in this spot. V, I was looking at this game, and I'm looking at all the metrics, and I'm like, how is this not a pick 'em? It was weird that New England was catching 2 on the hook, and I get if you want to give them a couple points for home field, but it's not like, Tampa Bay's got the most ferocious home field advantage. So I think a little bit of it where people were just refusing still to buy into this New England squad, but time and time again, they keep proving everybody wrong. And not only that, they didn't just hang close, they won it outright. So I got to give them the good label this week. They did what they needed to do, and they're showing people, hey, yeah, we play the easy schedule, but we're still going to win when we need to.
That's the thing. They played the easy schedule. Everybody was giving shit for them. And what did they do? They rattled off another big win. The Bills and the Buccaneers are 2 big names to have on your list of wins at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I was on the wrong side of that game. Kind of wish I just laid off and didn't bet the Bucs, but I unfortunately did. But it was a great game, and Drake May is now firmly at the top of the list in the MVP discussion, as he should be. So my good, short and sweet, my side piece. The Los Angeles Rams were just so good yesterday. Absolutely destroyed the San Francisco 49ers. It was never even really close. 42-26. Matthew Stafford also looks like a bona fide MVP candidate, playing probably the best football of his entire career at 37 years old. Puka Nacua, and I mean, Devontae Adams could go down as one of the best offseason additions if they continue cooking on offense the way that they've been playing. Blake Corum has been great spelling Kyren Williams as well. That 1-2 punch in the backfield is really looking nicely. And again, this defense can beat anybody. It's helpful that you're scoring 40 points consistently because the defense hasn't had to really be as staunch as they probably would like, but they haven't played a competitive game in a couple weeks. I feel like they've been beating the brakes off of people for a while. So I think the Rams are primed for a really nice late season run. And maybe we see this team make a run in the playoffs and possibly represent the NFC going into the Super Bowl. But I really like what the Rams are doing. They're my side piece for a reason. Keep winning, Los Angeles. All right. From good to bad. Chad, also let us know what you guys think. Who's your good, who's your bad, and who is yo ugly? Sauce Man, who's bad for you?
The Falcons. Same game, opposite side. And I know that they played their hearts out and they've done everything they can, but I think they're 3-6 now. And Yeah, you can say that they played well. You can say that Drake London was looked good, all that kind of stuff. But they're 3-6. It really doesn't matter anymore. The Bucks are going to start to run away with that division. You have a Panthers team that has more wins than you and a 30-0 loss over you. They're not doing it when they need to do it. And I can't keep continuing to talk about how good they look at different times and keep separating that. Like, this Falcons team has that much talent. You have Bijan Robinson, you have Drake London, a guy capable of catching 2 to 3 touchdowns in any given game, and even Michael Penix, who's played fantastic, and a pass rush that has literally gone from bottom 5 in the league to top 5 in the league in the course of 1 year without any crazy major additions outside of the draft. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And they're still sitting here at 3-6, looking worse than they did last year, even though Michael Penix looks better than their QB situation did last year. They're just bad. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm sorry, Paj. I love you, and I want them to be good. They're not.
Man, I kind of do too. I'm the same way, where it's like I'm just sneaky rooting for this Falcons team because they're a fun team to watch, right? They have a lot of skill players who are very fun to root for. And it just seems like they're limited by Michael Penix. And I was a huge Michael Penix fan in college. I remember I wanted him to win Heisman over Jaden Daniels, selfishly, because I had a ticket on him. But the argument was there to be made, no question.
Sure.
And the transition just hasn't been that. He just makes the quarterback position look way more difficult than it needs to be. And as someone who has grown up without having a quarterback his entire life, I know that feeling all too well. So I could kind of see it there. And it's just like painful to watch him throw it sometimes, man. I mean, what do you guys think? I feel like they're an above average quarterback away from being a team that could win a playoff game.
Isn't it weird that because I love left-handed quarterbacks. I think they're just always awesome to watch. And for some reason, his mechanics he looks so clunky. I don't know what it is about the way he throws the football, but like he seems to make some of the right decisions. And he does make nice plays in particular stretches, but I'm with you, dude. He's not consistent enough. He's still a young player, so maybe they're still trying to kind of develop, but like they made a huge decision by bailing on Kirk Cousins. And I'm not saying Kirk Cousins was playing good enough to like for them not to make that decision. But as soon as you make that choice, again, like kind of like the Vikings, the whole JJ McCarthy thing, as soon as you make that decision and you go with the younger guy, you got to just kind of live with the consequences. Right. It doesn't matter how good the team is around them. If your quarterback is subpar / bad, you're going to suck. And like, that's just, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. It doesn't matter how good the play calling is. Like, you're not going to be good because at the end of the day, you have to have a quarterback. I mean, go back to the Patriots. I don't think that the Patriots outplayed the Buccaneers specifically. That was a pretty close football game. Drake May just made 2 incredible plays in the right moments, in the right times. He made that 4th down conversion right before the end of halftime to that throw to Diggs for the touchdown, and he made that bomb to Matt Collins with like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter when they would have on 3rd and 13. I think they needed a big play. Yeah, and they would have had to punt. They would have been down. I think they were up 5 or something at that point. They would have that iced the game. Both of those plays are game-winning plays, and that's what quarterbacks that have that it factor do in those moments. And like you're talking about with Penix, I don't know if maybe he does still have that. And I know that Atlanta fans are probably like he has done that in stretches, but like that changes the math, and I don't know if the math is being changed in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's my bad. Sorry, Falcons fans.
Are you like honorarily jumping on that bad too, Danny, or did you have a bad as well?
No, my bad is going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sure I took one of your guys' uglies, but I have a different ugly. So the bad is going to the Jags. Look, all I got to say is I looked down at my phone and I was looking at the scores while I was at Soldier Field, and I saw the Jacksonville Jaguars are up 29-10 against the Houston Texans. I checked back a couple hours later. Next thing I see, 36-29 Texans won. And the reason I was looking not only to get the updated scores, but to see if my Davis Mills passing yards prop hit SPJ, because I'm like, oh man, they're getting beat so bad. Davis Mills is probably having a crap game. And then what he threw for like over 300 yards or something like that. And then they end up winning 292 is what he threw for 27 of 45. I haven't watched all the highlights, but how the hell did this even happen? I saw Liam Cohen just absolutely livid on the sideline, rightfully so. You guys will have to tell me, was this an indictment of like Trevor Lawrence? Was it solely the defense? What the hell happened? You have to tell me, but either way, blowing that is freaking bad against a backup quarterback in a division spot.
I watched a good portion because I needed Nico Collins's pass receiving yards, which he did cash at halftime. So I was good with that. But I watched this collapse happen. And I just think Trevor Lawrence, I just don't think is as elite as people think he is. I just don't think that he has it in him. And I think that this was one of those situations where he just got outplayed down the stretch by Davis Mills. They made all the right plays. They gave the ball away, had some bad turnovers, and they just pissed the game away. A bad loss for them too. This was going to be my bad. So you kind of stole mine, so I'll kind of honorarily jump on with you. Yeah, this was poor. It was bad. It was just such a collapse at the end of the fourth quarter, and to lose this football game. And you could tell how disappointed. This is the type of loss that could like send your season in a tailspin. Because I mean, if they would have won this football game, they would have still been able to compete with Indianapolis at the top of the division. The Texans lost C.J. Stroud. I mean, I like Davis Mills. I think he's a good quarterback, but like, this is the type of loss that can really start to make the guys in the locker room question shit too. You know, you lose after you're winning by 2 touchdowns going into the fourth quarter, and then you just fall apart like that. So yeah, the Jags were awful on Sunday. They were good for 2.5 quarters, but the 1.5 quarters that they were awful outweighed it, unfortunately. And this team kind of just sucks, I think.
When you can't generate first downs in the fourth quarter, I think that's exactly when you're going to run into a lot of trouble. Like in that first half of that game, you saw them make a lot of big plays. And shout out to you, SPJ, because you mentioned this guy, Parker Washington. He was fantastic in that game. He had 2 touchdowns, and honestly, a lot of the catches he made, I don't know if you saw the catches, SPJ, but they were insane, athletic catches, like
crazy
balls
catches
that he should not have come down with, in my opinion. And he was playing out of his mind. That helped them build this lead to where it was at. And then in the fourth quarter, when all of a sudden the regression hit and all of a sudden these big plays weren't being made and these athletic catches weren't there, the first downs weren't there. And then you have a Texans team that's playing with their back against the wall, airing it out every chance that they got, trying to make big plays. And sometimes it just goes that way. You have one team with their back against the wall, one team that is literally trying to run out the clock but can't do it. It just got ugly real fast. And once Davis Mills ran in that touchdown to tie the game, I was like, this is wraps.
I think Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence kind of hate each other, by the way. I think that's been pretty apparent by the clips we've seen accumulated so far this season, where Lawrence brushes him off and then he's thrown his headset the last game. Like, it's not his quarterback. He didn't draft him. This guy was supposed to be like the most generational quarterback until Caleb Williams came in the mix. And once that happened, everyone kind of forgot about what Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be. But now the narrative is circling back there. We're like, wait a minute, this guy actually kind of stinks. Like he's just not good. And
I've from day one, Danny, I've always thought that this dude was mid. I've never understood. Yeah, he's the big body. Obviously, went to a high caliber school, was great in college, could make all the throws, blah, blah, blah. And I just never really bought into the hype, man. And as a fellow long-haired person, it makes me sad that the other long-haired dude can't be good at football. But I just don't think he's very good. And it's shown. And it's a good point because Liam Cohen, and we've talked about this with other quarterback head coach situations, but everyone likes to turn the page so quickly. This isn't his guy. They paid him a lot of money, but who cares at this point? In the NFL, they throw money around all over the place. Am I echoing somewhere?
You did for a second. No. I did hear that.
I think I was. I think we're good now. Yeah, all right. You kind of took mine, so I'll just kind of make the chat mad for a second. Thursday night, the Denver Donkeys.
Let's go. I was hoping you were going to pick them. I can't wait to hear this.
They won against a Bunzy Raiders team, but they did everything possible to lose that football game. And I've said this to you, dude. I just do not, speaking of bad quarterbacks, I don't think Bo Nix is very good either. I just don't think this team is probably going to end up making the playoffs because they're 8-2. They have one of the best records in football right now. Their defense is very good. They have the most sacks in the NFL. Surtain not coming back for a few more weeks is definitely concerning. I think that they're going to be one and done in the playoffs, even if maybe they just collapse the second half of the season too. I don't like the way Sean Payton coaches this team. I don't like the way that Bo Nix quarterbacks this team. Their defense saves them time and time again. They're going to stop getting away with it at some point. I think this team is just so fake good. And I'm sorry, Broncos fans out there, but this team is buns. And I think that if you end up making the playoffs, congratulations. I do not think you're going to win a playoff game against some of the upper echelon teams in the NFL. Like if I put the Donkeys, I'm going to call them the Donkeys again. If I put the Donkeys against the Ravens right now, the Ravens might win by 2 touchdowns. Like even with that terrible defense. I don't believe in this team whatsoever. I've said it since week 1. I know that chat's probably giving me roasteds right now, but I'm not even going to read them at the moment. But I just think this team's bad. I know they're 8-2, but bad football team.
There's a big difference between finding a way to win, Adam, and then or finding a way to win or falling into a win. And last week we saw the Denver Broncos fall into a win.
Mm-hmm.
These motherfuckers have fallen into so many wins.
Well, yeah, I was just going to go through it. I mean, I'll give them this. The Colts game they lost in week 2, that should have been a win because they got the penalty that screwed them.
Yeah,
outside of that, you shouldn't have beat the Giants. That was just remarkable. You overcome a Texans team barely without CJ Stroud, and then you shouldn't have beat the Raiders last week. We went over all the plays that occurred, but like the Raiders played so unbelievably bad and still should have won. You only got the score, one of the scores, because of a blocked punt, but you had Thornton Jr. miss a play, a wide open catch. He also had a holding call that negated a touchdown, and then him dropping a wide open pass took away a field goal. We could go into it, but this is the right play. Denver could and should not be 10-0. Look, you know, I don't care what the record is now. Let's be realistic here. In my Bears, they're 6-3, 7-3, whatever. And I know what the realistic expectations are. You can enjoy it, but you also have to set the limits. I mean, this team is not good. Bo Nix is not a top quarterback, not even close.
I had to accept when the Titans, like 5 years ago, were the number 1 seed in the AFC.
And everybody knew it was,
everybody knew it was fraudulent. And I, even in the middle of my soul, knew it was fraudulent. But it was like, we have so many wins. Like, yeah, we won football games. And yeah, sure. But if you watch ball, this team is not good. They're just
if you say, if you could admit it, fair enough.
Sure. Have your fun. Yeah, they're 8-2. They're one of the best teams statistically in the AFC. You can't knock it. But
defense is winning
the Super. Their defense is, that Nick Bonino is just playing like on another level right now, man. That guy's so hard to stop. All right, let's make the uglies quick, boys. Let's enjoy the ugly just a little bit. Who was just downright ugly this week for you?
I don't think this is very hard to predict. The Browns. The Browns are so insanely ugly. Oh my God, Dylan Gabriel, he looked horrendous in that game, and it was disgusting. You gave the Jets their second win, and Shedeur Sanders isn't even being talked about. Like, we might even get a chance to see this kid. And I don't even care at this point as a fan of Shedeur. I'm just saying, you drafted 2 QBs in this draft. One of them has seen the field. The other guy is not. You traded 1 QB to an interdivisional rival. I don't understand what the hell is going on in Cleveland anymore. Just ugly. Get him the hell out of my face. Get him out of my face.
Yeah, one of my favorite bets of the week was Jets plus 2.5, and I damn near used it for Survivor. I used it for our staff picks, and SPJ couldn't believe it. He's like, "You're actually going to take it?" I was like, "I love this play." They were going to rally around their guys getting traded. Dylan Gabriel, metrically speaking, CPOE, success rate, EPA. I know you look at it too, like the worst quarterback by far. He is awful, to where you might have to go to Sanders at this point, right? I mean,
they might be trying to tank their season. You know?
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's really disgusting. It feels like even his completions are accidents.
All right, DB, who's your ugly? If you don't say the one that should be, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, so I was saving it. So the Giants / firing Brian Daboll is my ugly. Now, the Giants are ugly in their own right. We all understand why. And that loss alone gives them an ugly while I'm celebrating it. I mean, you can't lose that game. The fact that the Bears were able to win it is just so dumb. I mean, when they got the, too many men on the field and you still kicked the field goal, I was shocked. Once that penalty flag was thrown, I'm like, we're screwed. They're getting a touchdown here. It's Brian Daboll, offensive guy. You're going to kick the field goal. I'm like, okay, thanks. Like, what the hell are you doing, man? And then you fire the guy, and I get it. They've lost a lot of close games. He's been in some dumb situations, and that was a terrible decision. I understand. But Brian Daboll's also dealt such a crap hand being in the Giants organization at some of the worst times you could go. But look at Daniel Jones now. Again, that's a better run organization with better pieces that were able to make it work. Yes, you can still have some concerns, but you let Brian Daboll draft Jackson Dart and Scatterboo, but mainly Jackson Dart. And now the offense is seemingly improving, and you have some optimism for next year. You knew what the expectations were this season. I took their win total under. They were a 5-win team at best, and they're looking better. Sure, they can't close out games, but this is this guy's quarterback. The offense is gelling together, and then you can him. I mean, this is stupid. This is why teams fail in the NFL, and a lot of times I am a proponent, especially when the Bears have done it, but this is a bad time to do that. Daboll will get a job. He's still an offensive guru. He's like Mike McDaniel, except he can actually be a little bit better leader of men than Mike McDaniel, it appears. And let's be honest, if Jackson Dart doesn't get injured, the Giants may win that game on Sunday too. So it's not all on Dable. Ugly all around for the G-men. No shocker.
I don't disagree with you whatsoever. I just think that this has also got to hurt Jackson Darts. Like, he seemed like he got along with Dayball pretty well too. Like, the coach finding coach and quarterbacks that seamlessly. I mean, look what Justin Herbert did last night and you can tell like how much Jim Harbaugh has like instilled confidence in him now and how much his career has started to look more. Well, Madison beer helps too, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you get some backing and you feel a little more ready to roll. And like, that's hard to come by. That doesn't just grow on trees. And the Giants are just a terrible organization. So I don't disagree with you.
And kudos to you for being the only Bears fan in my life that was willing to admit if Jackson Starks stayed in that game, things may have ended differently. Because nobody else wants to talk about that.
Yeah, it felt like a gift. I'm like, look, Russell Wilson's a great guy off the field, but this couldn't have been a better situation for the Bears being down 2 scores right now. I mean, he knew he wasn't getting a first down.
Exactly. I prayers up to Jackson Dart, but as a fan of the Bears, if you watching Russell Wilson come into the game, nobody wants injuries. But if you're watching Russell come into the game, you're going to feel a little bit better about your team.
No doubt.
All right, so you guys picked fine answers, but this is the right answer. This team was just so grossly ugly yesterday. Not only did the Buffalo Bills lose to the Miami Dolphins on the road as 9.5-point favorites, they got their asses kicked, boys. They got smoked yesterday. Their offense looked anemic. Josh Allen looked like he had never played quarterback before. Devon Achane ran for almost 200. I think he did run for 200 yards on the ground. Let me look at his numbers here real quick.
He had like 250-plus yarders, so
174 rushing yards and almost 60 receiving yards. Jalen Waddle had 84. This was just a terrible performance by the Buffalo Bills. This is the type of performance that reminds you, oh, wait, this team might still not be ready to compete for a championship, because this is the type of game, and this is why sometimes Sean McDermott gets a little bit of heat under his seat, even though this team has been elite. That was a lot of eats, but over the last couple of seasons, is because they go out and look like this sometimes, and then sometimes they do this in the playoffs. Just an all-around bad day for Buffalo yesterday, and I'm surprised. I was pissed off because I had some parlays that needed them to just be serviceable, like James Cook in a great matchup, just run like normally, except they were already losing by 3 touchdowns. So it was just a bad day. Dalton Kincaid getting banged up also doesn't help them moving forward too. A lot of the things that the Bills have dealt with previously, and Shaggy made a good point on the timeline, and I totally forgotten about this going into this game. They put a lot of oomph into that Chiefs game, because they always put a lot of oomph into that Chiefs game, and maybe they had a little bit of a fall off looking into this Dolphins game after because they kind of kicked the Chiefs' ass a little bit. I mean, the score was pretty close because it's Mahomes and company, but they gave them the business, and maybe they celebrated a little too much and forgot, oh shit, we have to play a football game this week, and they got their asses kicked. So
you can kind of see it too. I thought with the energy levels, like from Josh Allen too, especially in the first half. In the second half, they kind of, got a little bit more aggressive, but then the mistakes came out, the interception in the red zone and things like that. But in that first half, it just looked like when he got hit, he was like on the ground for a few extra seconds. You know what I mean? The team wasn't moving at the same speed that they were moving against KC. And if you want to be a consistent winner in this league, we know that the highs can't be that high and the lows can't be that low, right? They're like the winners stay right here at all times. And that's something we haven't seen the Bills do this year.
I'll give kind of a glass half full perspective on this. Now, I agree they should be in this category of ugly. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, I mean, we keep saying, right, never apologize for winning this league, appreciate it all. Doesn't matter how ugly it looks, et cetera, et cetera. It's a road game against a division opponent. Buffalo is pretty good to have one of these, stinker losses at least once
every year.
To me, it doesn't change my. Yeah, go ahead, V.
I'll cut you the slack if you don't have the divisional home loss of the Patriots. But the divisional home loss of the Patriots, you know what I mean? And then to catch a loss the same week they beat the Buccaneers,
right?
It is not.
No, and that's fair. But so then the way that I'm kind of looking at, and I still do think like they are a better head coach away from clearly being a Super Bowl winner, right? But I still think they're in a prime position, and it could be a buy low spot because of those two reasons, to where now your most important game comes down to that next matchup against New England, where you kind of get that litmus test. But you have an even bigger chip on your shoulder, and now you're probably not going to win the division, so you're coming through the wild card. Like, there's no more room for complacency if you're Buffalo. That was your last straw. So let's see what kind of gear they kick it up into. And from a betting perspective, again, could be a buy low spot. But you make a good point. Like, you can have your lows be that low. I do concur with that. But we've seen this Buffalo team fight. It's like the Chiefs, right? Like, when it comes to the postseason, it's still a team you do not want to step in front of, regardless of what transpires in the regular season. It is concerning, though, a little bit. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know. Could be sneaky still. Could be a better price than you would have been getting.
You know what the crazy thing is that they were stinky. They were bad. They lost. They got dog walked by almost a double-digit favorite to a divisional opponent on the road. They're playing the Bucs next week in Buffalo. Off the top of the dome. Don't look. Do you guys know what the spread is in that game? Any guesses?
Guess 5, 4.5, 5.
I was going to guess 3.5. And if it is 3.5, I'll probably be betting Buffalo.
Buffalo is a 5.5-point favorite right now.
That makes sense. That adds up.
The Buffalo Bills might railroad the Bucs next week.
Yeah. What's the total in that game? Like 51.5?
49.5 right now.
That, honestly, I wouldn't hate that under. I know it's really early in the week, but it's getting late this time of a year in Buffalo. It's getting cold.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Buccaneers team plays half their games in sunny Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, the safer play's just got to be to go with Buffalo overall, though, right? But I get what you're saying for sure.
You see what I mean, though? Like, that line to me says the Bills bounce back and just take out some anger and aggression on the beat-up Bucs team. But, you can't cut out Baker Mayfield. And I know that you love fading the Bucs anyway, Danny, so we don't have to go into that any further. But
5.5.
That's whack, right?
Yeah.
I remember looking at that last night, and it hasn't changed. All right, chat. Talking football is awesome. Drop who your good, bad, and uglies are. We've got a great football game in front of us tonight as well. Let's jump into it. Let's talk all about Monday Night Football. The Eagles taking on the Packers. This line has danced all over the place all day, so the graphic is probably incorrect as we sit at right now. -1.5 are the Green Bay Packers, depending on where you're shopping. +1.5. Pretty much pick them on either side on the money line. Over-under has dropped to 44.5, up to from that point at 45.5, which it was earlier today. We talked about this some earlier today. Sauceman, you wrote about it at bettingnews.com. I'll let you kind of lead us off. It is your team, so chat, prepare yourselves for a tiny bit of homerisms baked into this response. Do you think your boys get the job done tonight?
Man, I'm talking probably yes. I can't take my homerisms out of it, but I really think we do. I think this Packers team has played up to their opponents this year, but they've also very much played down to their opponents this year. And it's been a tale of two different teams. The team that played the Cardinals, the Panthers, and the Browns was a completely different team than the team that played the Lions, the Commanders, or is coming into this Philly game. I think this is it, or even Dallas, right? This is a team that passes more. 3 primetime games this year. Jordan Love is averaging 260 passing yards per game. He's throwing the ball 37 times per game, 8 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. This guy has been elite on primetime, going back over his last 10 games, boys. 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 6-3-1 record. He's completing 78% of his passes on primetime. This is a guy who is going to come into this game looking to move the ball through the air. We've also got some injuries on the Packers side with Savion Williams. He's this guy who they've been using in the gadget spot. I think that's going to take away something that everybody wants Matt LaFleur to take away from this offense, and those shitty little swing passes out of the backfield. And I do think that this is a team who, yes, we're always arguing about who is going to be the pass catcher, but sometimes it's a good problem to have as an offensive coordinator because you have a lot of guys that are more than capable. On the flip side, you have a Philly team that is winning games and doing whatever they have to do that. But they haven't been top 10 really in anything except their red zone efficiency. They're number 1 in red zone efficiency. And once they get down there, they're almost most certainly putting it in the end zone. The thing is they're bottom 10 in pass yards per game, bottom 10 in rush yards per game. And Saquon Barkley is finally coming off his one big game this year, 150 plus yards and the touchdown. But I just don't know if that's going to hold. He's been struggling this year. The offensive line doesn't look the same. And Cam Jurgens, their starting center, is out of the lineup today. So how are you guys looking at this game? Because obviously you know who I have to win.
V, if I'm not mistaken, you were saying a little bit of BTA.
I am.
I got the belt out for this one, Chad.
I've got a homie, and I've been terrorizing him all week because I've just been texting him belt. belt on Monday. And I really do think that like maybe not the belt, but I think that this Philly team is going to struggle tonight. I think they're going to struggle moving the ball. I think this defense is good. This is also a team that is running zone at a very high rate. That's something we have seen Hurts struggle against this year. Just a couple of numbers this year. His QBR versus man, 129. His QBR versus zone, 97. His deep throw rate, 23% against man, 12.5% for zone. Everything gets cut in half, and it's the reason that guys like A.J. Brown have been, I think, a little bit frustrated. They're not throwing the ball at a high rate. He's not doing he's averaging less than 210 yards per game. He's got 15 touchdown passes, but a majority of them been to Dallas Goedert. 7 of them have been to Dallas Goedert, and I just don't see that being sustainable for an entire year. I think this is going to be a true test, and I think the Packers are ready, boys. I really, really fucking do.
I have no desire to take a side in this game. We talked about it earlier. I think I could very easily see a path where either one of these teams could win this game tonight in Green Bay. I will go ahead and lead us off with a touchdown score because I want to get V's thoughts on this because he's kind of talked about it some. And I know you like it, Danny, from us talking about it earlier. Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown, plus 115 is the odds I got on this. 2 touchdowns is plus 650, and then the first touchdown is plus 650 as well. I sprinkled both of those. 2 hasn't scored a touchdown in 2 straight weeks. I've seen a lot of chatter about this prop today because it is plus money, and people are like, why is it plus money for Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown? You know, tush push, blah, blah, blah. Also, Danny made the good point. The Packers were kind of the ones that wanted the tush push banned. You'd think that Sirianni and company want to kind of get him out there and get him pushing into the end zone. But this is also about how Jalen Hurts plays on Monday Night Football. Jalen Hurts has scored a touchdown on 7 consecutive Monday Night Football performances. He also has 2+ touchdowns in 3 of those 7 performances too. So Jalen Hurts, a big Monday Night Football touchdown scorer. I could see him getting into the end zone tonight. I do think the Eagles are going to be able to move the ball. I know you kind of talked about some of your concerns from that perspective, but I do think they're going to be able to move the football, get into the red zone. And we know when they get down on the 1-yard line, you know what's coming. So I think the plus money value on Hurts is really nice. Love the 2+ sprinkle and got to take a first. Otherwise, what am I doing?
Danny, as a fellow skeptic, just like in the betting world, like myself and Trizzy sometimes, does the plus money line scare you at all too? Or are we just overthinking this? I know SPJ thinks we're overthinking this, but what do you think?
We overthought Jackson Dart scored a touchdown yesterday, and it was plus 2 to 1, and he scored 2.
Fair.
Yeah, you know what the thing, I mean, obviously, you know, the market getting moved by what kind of bets they're getting in there. And you would, you know, the public's not going to move it enough. It's where the sharp action's coming. And, you know, I don't really know how much with the anytime touchdown market, how much is getting influenced by that on a week-to-week basis. But we have a primetime spot like this. Everybody's going to be betting those type of players. And the numbers are usually bad in general. But I am a bit surprised that you're getting around that plus money mark. And maybe it's because a lot of the market in general, V, still has a lot of respect for this Green Bay, for this Packers defense. I'm struggling to say it as a Bears fan, but yeah, for this Packers defense, that's still, you know, it's fairly respectable, right? They do have their issues here. And what I was going to kind of get into some stats that stood out to me, V. I mean, you know, the 17th in rush EPA, 20th in rush success rate. They're allowing just 4 yards per carry, but 4.4 over the last 3 games. The way that I kind of look at this spot as a whole is that if Matt LaFleur is as good of a coach as I think he is, as a lot of people believe he is, I know he's not a defensive guy, but the focus is improving that run defense, especially when you know a team like Philly's coming to town. And that's going to kind of work into my props that I have in a bit. In general, though, I think it's just like the name brand recognition of like Saquon always getting love and people knowing that the run defense has been bad. Rico Dowdle went off, so obviously Saquon has to. So I think maybe that's more instinctual with the odds in that aspect, perhaps, as opposed to Hurts. But I definitely think the value is there with Hurts overall for the touchdown. So I like that and the narrative with the tush push a lot. But then really quick to go into the full game kind of outlook at things. And what I was going to ask you too is what game plan we expect out of Matt LaFleur? Because if I were in your shoes I guess if I wanted to bet this game, if I knew that LaFleur was going to call the game that you believe he should call for the Packers, I actually think the Packers are the right side. What's kind of crazy here is that the line has moved from 3 now to a pick 'em. And it's like, what am I missing? Because more often than not, I want to bet the Eagles. I am a big proponent of this team. I said this earlier, SPJ, like I was last year. They were my Super Bowl pick before the year started last year. They were one of mine still coming into this year, even though it's hard to replicate back to back. But then it's like the Packers, like this is a great spot for Green Bay to bounce back, right? I mean, you just got embarrassed at Lambeau. And then in primetime the next week, if you falter again, I don't know if you get the respect label because it's the reigning Super Bowl champions. Like this is, you got to have this spot if you're Green Bay to get back into a rhythm. And I think if they can get that run defense to look somewhat competent, that's their path to winning. And yeah, for whatever reason, Jordan Love does do better on primetime. And I know I hate those kind of numbers, SPJ. I've said it, but like, it does seem like every time we turn it on, like Jordan Love makes us see crow when it comes to primetime, because that's when the media just drools all over him all of a sudden, is because they get a lot of that airtime. But when it happens against the Panthers, you don't hear anything really. So when that's squeezed into the noon slot, but I don't know. It seems like everybody's jumping on Philly. I kind of think the Packers may sneak this one out. I don't know.
Yeah, Danny, just so I talk about what you're talking about, the play calling here with Matt LaFleur, what I would like to see and what I think we do see in this game is the kind of play calling we saw in that Dallas game, the kind of play calling we saw in this in the game against the the Lions in week one, a team that comes out trying to move the ball through the air, that is utilizing the QB that they paid almost $1 billion, that is utilizing their first round draft pick that they use on a wide receiver, and this wide receiver room that is full of guys that might not be the best or the first guys you think of, but are guys that are very, very good at what they do. And I think that that's how you got to move the ball. Josh Jacobs has struggled on the ground. He's averaging 3.8 yards per carry. The offensive line is ranked or graded in the bottom 5 for run blocking, but has done a great job of protecting Love. I think that's exactly why you have to lean on that side of the ball a little bit. This is also a Philly team that ranks 23rd in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. And what do you have right now? You've got a ton of wide receivers. You got Christian Watson back on the field, a guy who has shown the ability to stretch the field, who has had good games against this Philly team. And I think it's going to be really important tonight. I think another guy that I'll just talk about and rattle off here real fast, Romeo Doubs at 52.5 receiving yards. The reason I like this a lot is there is no guy seeing a 25 or 28% target share here in Green Bay, but there is a wide receiver one. His name is Romeo Doubs. He is seeing a 31% first read target share this year, higher than anybody else. And over the last 5 games, that has gone up to nearly 38%. Over the last 5 games, he's seen 40 targets, caught 27 balls for over 350 yards, and has 3 touchdowns. This is also a guy that thrives on primetime and has had big games this year already on primetime. I think when you get down into the end zone and when you get down and dirty, this is the guy you're looking at. Not only that, but he's lined up on the left side opposite a guy in Adoree Jackson, who has been graded as one of the worst cornerbacks in the league this year, and the real fatal flaw for this Philadelphia team. I'm not sure if he's going to see the most majority of the time there, but he's back in the lineup. They've got Cooper DeJean maybe sliding out, and I know they've made some additions, but it looks like to me like it's going to be Adoree Jackson on the outside, and that's a matchup I think that the Packers win all day. So give me Romeo Doubs. And one other guy, I want you guys' opinion on him too, because I'm going to talk about him, but no Tucker Kraft this week.
I was going to ask you what you think the impact is next with him being gone.
I mean, you know I'm nuts and I love betting touchdowns like this, but I'm taking the Luke Musgrave look at plus 360. Tucker Kraft was seeing a 20% first read target share in the red zone this year. And he is not they're not the same tight ends, but they were taken in the same draft. Musgrave was taken around ahead of Tucker Kraft. He's bigger, slightly faster, and coming out of college had better measurables than Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft's also coming out of a small school in South Dakota State. This guy's coming out of Oregon State. He's played for a big program, but he hasn't seen the field in the NFL. He's had a lacerated kidney, concussions, and because of that, Tuck just kind of came in and took over. He is not a yards after catch guy. He is a stretch the field guy, a run up the seam kind of guy, but he is good at catching the ball. He is good at getting up and bringing it down. And I think today in the spot against this very tough Philadelphia team that doesn't give up a ton, right? I think Luke Musgrave is going to have a big role just because of how much this offense uses 12 personnel, how much they use the tight end position, and how Jordan Love really does rely on his big guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense that would be a seamless transition.
I would hope so, as a fan.
Yeah, before I get to my props, too, I was just going to say, because Crazy Pelt just brought it up, the under 45. I saw 45.5 earlier, but I haven't looked lately. I kind of lean toward this being an under type of spot as well. Curious your guys' thoughts there, because I would think based on both defenses, again, the big question is what the hell is LaFleur going to call, right? If he's still kind of doing the Josh Jacobs idea, then running the ball certainly leads to a lower scoring game. You know, the Eagles are at least going to attempt that at first against a weaker aspect of the Green Bay defense right now. But if Green Bay's defense improves, then maybe you get Hurts throwing it. Because we don't know what the game style is going to be pregame, I kind of like this under, but curious your guys' thoughts with the total.
I like it. I said to you earlier, I kind of feel like this could be an under situation. Don't want to bet it straight, but I think it would make sense in a parlay or two. Just also juice the odds if you kind of like some props, which I do think there are some good props in this game. We've talked about a bunch of them, but I'm with you. I like the 45. I'm seeing 44.5 now. Just to touch on the weather, because it is in Lambeau, it's cold. It's very cold. It's 33 degrees right now. It's going to get below freezing by kickoff. That doesn't normally really move the needle for me. Obviously, wind and snow can definitely make a big difference in comparison, but this is going to be a factor for kickers, especially. So maybe those extra points, maybe some kicks, they go a little funky, a little further. McManus has also been kind of subpar for the Packers this season too, so he could maybe struggle in this spot as well. So yeah, I like the under. Didn't bet it, but I think that if I had to choose, I would take the under.
I kind of agree too. I think this is going to be one of those games, and that I exactly what Chris just said in chat. I think the Packers want to build a lead early and then try to get Jalen Hurts dropping back and put some pressure on him. I think that's the way to do it, and that's the way to give them some long fields. It's also how you get an under, right? Some 3rd and 13, some like 2nd and 15s. That's exactly what you kind of want here. You have a offensive line that's missing their starting center. That's also going to be without Landon Dickerson. Like, they're missing people all over the field. And then just because you talked about the weather, SPJ, just a few stats. Jalen Hurts 0-2 in, I don't know what the temperature is here, but in cold games, 0-2, 56% completion rate, 59 QBR. Love, on the other hand, 5-0 in those, 3 starts, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 70% completion rate, and an 84 QBR. These things don't usually matter, and it's a very small sample size for both QBs, but it could get ugly, and that could mean just a lower scoring game.
Yeah. Like I said, it's cold, so that definitely will play into it. Do you want to talk about your props, Danny?
For sure. Yeah. Speaking of tight ends, I took this prop on Friday. Dallas Goedert over 29.5 receiving yards. I know it's gone up to about 33, 34. I think he gets 40 plus in this game. Green Bay is a bit vulnerable against the tight end position group, allowing over 51 receiving yards, 2 tight ends per contest, and about 7 receptions to them per game as well. Goddard's getting over 4 catches per game, over 41 receiving yards. Again, I just think this is going to be a focal area for Jalen Hurts. Goddard's kind of an enigma almost. Like last year was non-existent, but when he comes alive, he does come alive. And if the Packers secondary, which they're allowing the fewest yards per completion, so if they can kind of wrap up Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, certainly the next best option is Dallas Goedert, who he has shown some admiration for this season. And I just thought that line was way too low. So I think we get a big game out of Dallas Goedert. And then the other one I did, Jalen Hurts over 26.5 pass attempts. Now, again, I do think at first, certainly it's always been this way. Like the Eagles are going to try to get the running game established, but I think it's a huge pride spot for this Packers run defense on primetime after what happened last week. I mean, that was just an utter embarrassment. And the run defense has been, again, kind of like against the tight ends, but even worse, susceptible, vulnerable, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's been the case. And I lean toward the Packers winning this game, so I do believe Jalen Hurts will have to throw. I see him at about 28 to 29 pass attempts, so 26.5 is very appealing. Green Bay still getting thrown on 37 times per game, 27th most. Every opposing quarterback has thrown for more than this, which isn't shocking. It's, he's an outlier here with how little he throws, but every quarterback's cleared this and then some. They've at least thrown 36 or more attempts outside of Bryce Young last week, who went 11 of 20. I'd be shocked if the same strategy can work here for the Eagles when Saquon's kind of on a down year and what this Packers defense should improve to being. In Green Bay, they do have a completion percentage of 67%, so that's 21st. So look, as long as they don't get beat deep, we'll be like, all right, we'll let Hurts kind of do these little dinky throws here and there and enough to move the ball downfield. Can they execute in the red zone? That's going to be the big question. But I do think we're going to see Hurts throw a little bit more than usual tonight.
I like that, Danny, and it kind of plays into what I was saying too about against zone defenses. His deep throw rate kind of cuts in half. He's looking shortened over the middle, and I think it only increases with the pressure rate that the Packers should bring tonight with their front seven.
I'll talk about my prop that I like, and then we move on and we'll talk some basketball before we get out of here. Could probably spend another hour talking about this football game, but we got to get out of here soon. I'm taking Devonta Smith over 52.5 receiving yards. -110 is the line I got here. I also sprinkled on his touchdown at +210. You can get a little better value at +225s out there right now. Devonta Smith is also a guy who loves playing on Monday Night Football. Back-to-back games on Monday Night Football. He's had touchdowns and has gone over this receiving yards line. He's also hit this in 3 of his last 4 games, 84 and 183 on double-digit targets. Now, do I think that he's not going to have – I don't think he's going to have 100 yards. He could, but I don't think he's going to have 100 yards. However, I do think that he is going to have some success against this Packers secondary. They're going to try to be focusing, I would imagine, a bit more on A.J. Brown, and I think that Devonta Smith could probably get loose. Also has hit this line in back-to-back games versus the Packers. Obviously hit it last year in the playoff game with 55 receiving yards and had over 100 in the game prior last season against the Packers as well. So I think Devonta can have a good game, 52.5, and I do like the touchdown sprinkle as well. Word. There's a lot of plays for you guys in the game. Going to be a fun one, though. Should be a good game. Hopefully we get a better one, like you said, V, than what we saw last night. So we shall see what we get tonight on the gridiron. All right, let's quickly talk about the basketball slate tonight, boys. Big games all across the NBA slate tonight. Danny, I want you to give us a roll here as you wrote about a bunch of games. And chat does appreciate your unders, and I do too. Although I saw you had an over that looks very enticing to me actually today as well. Which is fun.
Indeed. We got 1 over, 2 unders. We'll start with the unders. Lonzo Ball under 1.5 3-pointers. A little chalky here, -$134 is what I got. He's going up against the Miami Heat, who have the 3rd best opponent field goal percentage from 3 at 32.1%. It's great to see Lonzo back on the floor, but his usage rate is the lowest of his career right now, just 17.4%. He doesn't even qualify to rank in a percentile for points per shot attempt because it's so low at 78.7. He's averaging less than 5 points per game and shooting 27% from 3-point land. So, Lonzo Ball laying the vig here, but I do think that he stays under 1.5 threes. The other under, same game, Jalen Tyson under 9.5 points, -$125. Same type of idea here against Miami, 3rd best 3-point defense. Low usage rate, 14%, which puts him in the 22nd percentile for his respective position group. 57% of his shot attempts come from beyond the arc, but his effective field goal percentage, not the best. He's averaging 11 points per game. It's a little bit higher than what he really should come back down to earth around. And overall, this Heat defense, guys, is really good. 4th in defensive efficiency and defensive effective field goal percentage allowed. And the lone over, how about Royce O'Neal over 9.5 points at even money? So they're playing the Pelicans, and the Pelicans aren't terrible. They're top 10 against the 3, but they're letting them shoot a ton from there. And 85% of his shot attempts come from beyond the arc, and he's still making 44% of them. So he's incredibly efficient. 76th percentile for his PSA, 88th percentile for his effective field goal percentage. He should be able to find ways to score against, again, a Pelicans defense top 10 in defending the 3, but they're allowing a lot of shot attempts from 3, which is where he thrives from anyway. So I think he'll get ample attempts and be able to clear 9.5 points.
I liked his 3-point line too. I was looking at this after I saw you write about this earlier today. His points looks nice. His threes looks good too. Nice ladder spot as well. The Pelicans are so bad defensively. So Shook is crying over the Tyson prop though, because he loves this kid. He's been betting his overs. So
I feel like Sook, apparently I'm always on the wrong side against him. He may just hate me low key because I'm always talking trash about the Bucks and now his NBA guys too. So I'm gonna have to get back on a program with him so he can let me hear it.
Yeah, he can give you the business. All right, Sauce Man, I see you got a prop. I've got a few I'll rattle off pretty quickly, and then we'll cook a parlay and we'll get out of here. What do you like?
One of the players that Danny just talked about, but a different kind of angle here. Somebody I love to bet on, Lonzo Ball, over 3.5 assists, -130. Everything Danny said about the Miami team and their defense has been good. They're top 5 in field goal percentage allowed, effective field goal percentage allowed, and all that stuff. But the things that they haven't done well are giving up a ton of fast break points and giving up a shit ton of second chance points. They're bottom 10 in both categories and top 3 in pace. I'll continue to talk about it until this team slows down. But as long as Miami is playing at this pace, I'm looking for rebounds and assist props for their opponents. Lonzo's the look today, over 3.5 assists. I think there's plenty of opportunities here in transition, especially with a lot of the guys that the Cavaliers have now on this team. So give me the over 3.5 assists. He only played 22 minutes in the last game. He's been floating around there, so we really want to get out and get those assists early. But I think this is a good look here against Miami. But that's it for the NBA.
It's a light NBA card from you. Yeah. I'll stick in this game. The total in this game is absurd. 247.5 was the total. I looked at this game earlier when labbing this up as well. So that means, because of what V was saying, there should be a lot of points in this game because the Miami Heat have the fastest pace offense in the NBA and the Cavaliers are third. They both like to run, and score a lot of points. Give me Jaime Jaquez over 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I did sprinkle on the triple-double. He's been flirting with him over the last 3 games. I think that he has an opportunity to get one in this really fast-paced environment. I think that he's one of the people I like to bet on consistently over the last couple of seasons, and he's finally getting an opportunity to play, and he's looking like he's thriving in this new kind of fast-paced offense that the Heat are playing. So I think Jaime's going to have a good game tonight in South Florida. Next, De'Aaron Fox is back for the Spurs, and he had a great opening game. This 19.5 points line is a joke, boys, against the Chicago Bulls. This is an absolute steal. They're not going to leave this line at 19.5. He just had 24 points in his return, first game back from injury. And the Chicago Bulls, as Danny can say, have been good this season, really good, but they still struggle defensively. They also like to play at a really fast pace. So I think that De'Aaron Fox, a guy who has cooked the Bulls consistently previously, is going to want to get his lick back as well to continue to cook to start the season. 19.5 just feels way too low. I like the 25 plus as well for a sprinkle. I'm not going to sell you on this. I'm going to keep taking Denny Advia's PRA until they move it to like 40 plus. They keep creeping it up higher and higher, but I do think that this is a good opportunity for Denny once again to have another big night. I'm going to keep chasing that triple-double too. He's going to get one eventually. He's had back-to-back games where he was 2 assists short. He's just doing everything for this team. He came out as one of the first. He is an all-star starter if you voted for the all-stars right now from the early NBA.com released odds. He's been playing fantastic for this Portland Trailblazer team. I think we see another masterclass from Denny tonight, over 35.5 PRA. Feels comfortable. And then we're going to Utah, boys. Utah Jazz taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. You know how it was Nico Collins Day yesterday? It was a holiday. Well, Monday is Anthony Edwards versus the Jazz Day. Over 27.5 points. You got that belt next to you, Danny? Because that belt is what Anthony Edwards likes to do to the Utah Jazz. BTA. 30-plus points in 5 straight games versus the Utah Jazz. He just had 38 against them in their last game. I see another great performance from Ant-Man again tonight against the team that he just loves to dog walk. And in the same game, Julius Randle over 12.5 rebounds and assists. He had a triple-double against them in their last game. He's been flirting with them consistently. I think he has another opportunity tonight. If Ant-Man's going to go crazy, probably a lot from Julius Randle. So, yeah, those are the props I like. Danny talked about quite a few is there. Go check out Danny's article as well. Go get involved with all the scribbles we have at bettingnews.com, as always, across all the different leagues. It's going to be a fun night tonight of sports, boys. We got a great football game, fun basketball, all across all the sports. We didn't talk any hockey. There is some hockey tonight as well. Go check out NZ Scribbles for a couple of the games over at bettingnews.com there on the frozen pond. And the boys talked about shit tons of college basketball earlier. See, you guys, if you guys have been watching the shows, you've been getting all the goods anyways. So, okay. We made it to the end. Let's do that.
I'm excited. Hey, SPJ, I'm feeling good about this one tonight.
Hey, all right, now, come on now. We ain't even cooked it yet, Danny, and you're feeling good about it.
Oh, I'm already feeling great.
Yeah, things you love to see.
This is a good question. Go to bettingnews.com. I don't know. I haven't looked at this game. I did not have a chance to look at the hockey slate today. But all right, how do we want to do this? Do we want to do?
Did you just freeze for the first time ever?
No, you did. I'm fine. Yeah, I think Sauceman's. Oh, and we lost him. We made it almost the whole show, dude. You with me, Danny?
Yeah, I'm with you.
You're with me, right?
I'm laughing because he was on the screen like, what the hell happened? I think he's okay.
I think you're back now. Can you move your phone away from your mic, though? Because we keep hearing that. Sorry. There we go. That's better. Okay, let's cook. I think we do 2 NBA plays and 2 football plays. How you guys feel about that?
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Let's leave Denny out of this one because it starts in 20 minutes. I was going to say I want to play him, but he starts.
Who?
Denny.
Oh, Denny. Yeah,
we
don't
have
to. Against the Magic. God, the Magic have been so bad to start the season. I also wanted to take the Blazers in that game, plus 1.5 in Orlando.
Damn, I was leaning toward the Magic actually.
Really?
Game, but I didn't take it. But
the line doesn't make any sense. The Blazers are a better.
The Blazers are just still so banged up. I feel like so Magic, if they kind of get back into a rhythm, I don't know.
The total makes me with no Suggs. The total makes me feel like there should be a fuck ton of points in that game. But anyway, yeah, we can lay off of that one because that starts here soon. Okay. I really like your voice. You want to go Ant-Man? You down for Ant-Man too, Danny?
Oh, I love Ant-Man. I'm down for it.
I like the Royce O'Neal play a lot too. I'm down to take Royce points.
I am
you down for that?
I'm actually surprised that you didn't want to do 3 football plays, because I would, outside of basketball, really quick, I would say I love your Hurts play. I like V's Dobbs play a lot. And then if we threw in the Goddard one too.
I mean, that feels nice. And then just Anthony Edwards at the end of the night.
And to take us home and tuck us in with the belt in the hand.
Danny said he felt good. Then he cooked the parlay. I feel good about this.
I feel like Danny just did the cooking, so we don't even need to. You want to do Hurts the touchdown?
I think it sets up nicely. I mean,
come on, let's do it.
All right now. Okay. Well, there you go. Let me. That's -105.
You could, and I would almost say, depending on how much it knocks it down, like Goddard 30+, and we pay a little vig on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
20. Oh no, that's gross. They have 25 or 40. Yeah. The line's 34.5.
I guess you could just do 34.5.
No, this is 34.5. We're fine.
I liked your sell job. I think he gets 40. Plus at least 40, up to 50. Plus 1,000. Jalen Hurts for a touchdown. Romeo Dobbs for 50 yards. Dallas Goedert for 35 yards. And then Anthony Edwards for 28 points to take us home and tuck us in, plus 1,000. It does the job. We hit our first lay since the season of giving started yesterday, so $30 in the pot for the Feeding America. So let's add some more tonight, and with this beautiful lay we've got in front of us here. Good stuff, dude. Great show.
Absolutely. I wish I know you've kind of done it or talked about doing it. I wish tonight was a night where we got like a live stream of V, but we could just go on his Twitter feed and it's essentially the same thing, I feel like. So I might have to turn his notifications on tonight.
That's going to be a fun time for you, my man. Yeah, maybe don't do that. There are certain days, actually, you know what? I never mute Vsauce. I always keep his noties on, but there was one day, I think 3 or 4 days ago, where he went through an extra day of really wanting to get a lot off his chest, and he finished off the night going, all right, that's enough bitching. I need to cleanse the timeline tomorrow.
Dude, that's like me for every Nebraska game where it's like I tweet so much. I'm like, I guarantee 95% of the people who follow me are just like, dude, shut the hell up. No one cares. Your program's irrelevant. I'm like, it's a venting. Yeah, it's therapy. You know,
it's therapy. At least the Bears are good this year for you. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah. All right, chat. Thanks for tuning in to your BETSPRESSO. Go follow Danny Burke on socials. Go follow Vsauce, even though we lost him at the end. Go follow myself at Sweatpan Jesus. Huge slate for us tomorrow right here on the network. So give us a follow on Twitch, on YouTube, or on X, and you'll get the notification every time we go live to give you the moves all across the sports slate tomorrow. DB, have a great night, brother. Go walk that.
Man. Looking forward to it.
Let's smack some bets, dude. You guys came for the winners and you stayed for the vibes of a fantastic Monday night. Enjoy the games. We will catch you on the next one. Take it easy.
What you know about rolling down in the down in the now I know we all be loving this shit right here. Rolling. What you gonna do? Rolling. What you gonna do? Down in the rolling. What you gonna do? Right, y'all be loving this shit. What you know about